Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I'll be doing a rules refresher for Earthborne Rangers. And in this video, I'll be talking about gear and other types of cards that may have tokens on them. Let's get rolling. So I'm all set up to talk about gear and then more broadly just cards in general with tokens on them. So I'm going to try and put chapter markers to talk about these different types of cards that might have tokens on them. But I think where most people get hung up is gear, and I also want to put special emphasis on missions because that's a really critical one, but I'll try and talk about other card types as well. And as a reminder, I do have an Earthborne Rangers rules refresher playlist, so you can check that out if you would like to kind of go in order and learn some of these other concepts. I've got a lot of info in there, and I've got these videos scheduled out through the rest of this month. It is September of 2025 when this video is being released, so if you have Earthborne Rangers questions that I have not covered yet, let me know in the comments what those questions are, and I will do my best to do some research and perhaps do some more videos going into October and beyond. But let's go ahead and get started. We are talking about tokens. And so I have these upgraded dice, but you may be using the cardboard tokens, and that's fine too. There are broadly three types of tokens in this game. Harm, which is red, progress, which is blue, and these general ones. I've got this sort of white and green die, and I think the colors match on the cardboard punch-outs as well. So harm is always used for harm, progress is always used for progress, and general is a wild card. That can be used for just about anything. And it's really the general one that I want to focus on today. Let's talk briefly at first about harm and progress, but I've kind of covered that in other videos such as clearing cards. So we see within reach of this ranger on the right, we've got an exhausted prowling woolhound and an active or a ready Sitka buck. The woolhound has 2 harm on it, and the Sitka buck has 2 harm and 3 progress. So it looks to me like maybe this ranger was trying to interact with the Sitka buck doing a connection test, which is one of the common tests, to try and get the progress up on it, because if the progress got up to 5, it would clear this card, and then we wouldn't have to worry about all these different challenge icons. And so maybe they were able to put 3 progress or I guess 2 progress on this Sitka buck. They drew their challenge card and it had the blue mountain icon. And so we see if we resolve this weather card, if progress was add an additional progress. So that brought them from 2 to 3. But then when we want to resolve this card, it says if there's an active predator, which I assume there was, exhaust it, add 2 harm to it, and then add harm to this being equal to that predator's presence. So I think that's kind of how we got in that scenario here. And so we can see that there are harm tokens, value of 2 on the woolhound, 2 on the Sitka buck, and then 3 progress on the Sitka buck. And progress and harm are used to clear cards most of the time. Of course, the harm token is also used on your roll card to designate injuries. And if you get 3 injuries, then that will force the end of your day. And if there are fewer than 3 injuries, that also has other consequences. But a lot of what we're going to be talking about now is about this general icon, this general token type. And so we already talked about the weather card briefly, so let's take a look at that. You'll notice that this has a die on it, general die with 3, a value of 3 on it. And when you set this card up, it has 3, a number 3 and a little banner here on the right-hand side. And that's typically where you're going to find general icons listed on cards. So if we look at this weather card, it says 3 clouds. And so these 3 tokens, these general tokens can represent anything. So on this card, they represent clouds. So this weather card, perfect day, has 3 clouds on it. Now what does that do? Well, we look at the rules here. It says during the refresh phase, this is at the end of each round, discard 1 cloud from this card. So when you do that, you would take this and go from 3 down to 2. If you have the punch outs, you would just physically remove 1 and there would only be 2 left. If there are no clouds remaining, flip this card. So this is some sort of timer. And I'm not going to show you what's on the other side. You can discover that on your own. But weather cards may have general tokens, and they could represent any variety of things. In this case, it's clouds. And as these clouds go away, eventually you're going to have to flip that card over. And so we'll see this theme again and again, where these general tokens represent anything. So if we look at Lone Tree Station here, we've got one progress token on it, and there is no banner here on the right side. There are no other token types, but it is possible for location cards to have a variety of general tokens on them as well. Now, I've been using, for examples, just this woods deck, so I don't have anything to show you here, but it's possible for different terrain path cards or other types of path cards, whether they be from pivotal locations or from the valley, to potentially have general tokens on them as well. And those can represent, again, a variety of things. The card will have more details for you. Now, let's get to the big ones. The first one I want to talk about is gear. And so some gear may have tokens and some gear may not. So we see this gear here, these Hydro Lens goggles. When you equip it, you put 3 drops on it. And so this card has a test on it. This piece of gear has a test. It's an awareness test. It uses reason. The test is called Clarify. You take the test and you use 1 drop. So every time you want to take this test, you have to take one of these drops and remove it. So I just went from 3 down to 2. Then you take the test, and regardless of whether you pass or fail, you've used one of those tokens that is on the card. So then if I want to take that test again, I must use 1 drop, so it would go down to 1. And then if I wanted to take the test again later, I remove 1 token. I'm now out of drops on this Hydro Lens goggles. So when that happens, the gear still remains. You don't have to unequip the gear. It does not go to your discard, but you can no longer do the thing on it that requires using tokens. Now, there are some effects in the game that may allow you to put tokens back onto gear. So, for example, the roll card for this ranger here on the left is the Exceptional Tinkerer, and I may choose to exhaust this card and spend 1 energy of any type to add 1 token to a tech. So I'd exhaust the card, I spent this energy, and then it does not say that the tech has to be my own. So the only thing I have equipped is this Iron Wool boots, which is gear and clothing. But you'll see over here, these Hydro Lens goggles, this is gear, clothing, and tech. So because it's a tech, I may choose to add 1 token back onto this gear. And then that gives 1 more use. So we could do this Clarify test again another time later. Now again, not all gear will have tokens. So I've got these phonoscopic headsets here. To use this gear, you do not have to use any tokens. There is no banner on the right. To use it, you must exhaust it. So that is the cost of using this gear. This gear over here, this ranger has these Iron Wool boots. And these are a response type gear. So let's say I had this Eagle Eye card in my hand and I played it. I spend the cost of 1 awareness energy. I do what it says. This has me scout the path deck. And then when it's done, I have this response that says, after you play a moment, which this Eagle Eye is, that's a moment card. After you play a moment, soothe 1 fatigue. So then I would take 1 fatigue card from the top of my fatigue stack and add it into my hand. So that can be very handy too, and I didn't even have to exhaust the card. So this one is just encouraging me to play a lot of moments. Let me grab my deck here for a moment, and let me put this other piece of gear out. We've got these spider pad gloves, and you can see this has a number in the banner on the right side. It says 2 charges. So at the moment we equip the gear, we put 2 charges on it, and there is a test on it. So there's a fitness test to climb, and you must use 1 charge. So the first time I use it, it would go down to 1. If I use it again, it would go down to 0. So again, when I'm out of tokens, I can no longer do this climb test, but the passive effect on these gloves might make it worth it. So the passive effect is during your turn, you may treat obstacles as if they did not have the obstacle keyword. That is really helpful. So that's an example of where even when I run out of my tokens on a piece of gear, I may very well likely want to keep it equipped, even if I don't think I can put more tokens on it, because it's doing something passive that is helpful. So just to recap, tokens on gear, when you first equip the gear, if there's a number in the banner on the right-hand side, it's going to tell you thematically what these tokens are representing. So in these cases, drops or charges. And you're going to immediately, when you equip the gear, put that many tokens on the gear. And then each time you are told to use 1, so use 1 drop, use 1 charge, you're going to reduce the number of tokens or remove the token from the card. Some effects might let you add tokens back to the card, and if it gets down to 0, you do not automatically unequip the gear. You still leave it equipped. And then when you travel, if I were to travel right now and go to another location, let's say that I had enough progress to do that, if we were to rest and travel somewhere else, all the tokens on your gear would remain exactly as they are. All the stuff in your ranger area would not change when you perform the travel. And then after you travel, you would follow the round structure as normal. So then you would go to the refresh phase. You would refresh any exhausted cards, do other things that say refresh on them, and you continue play as normal. So when you travel, your gear stays equipped. Whatever tokens you have on them, those are not affected by traveling at all. But if by some means you are forced to unequip some gear that has tokens on it, those tokens are just lost. You would remove the tokens and the gear would go into your discard pile. So I think that's the important stuff around gear. Hopefully that clears some things up. The other thing I need to talk about is missions. And I don't want to show you any missions cards. I don't want to spoil anything. I'll let you figure that out for yourself. But missions, for the most part, work the same way as gear in that when you travel, any tokens that you've added to missions will remain. So you may have a mission that says, each time you do X, add 1 progress to it. And so you're kind of adding progress to this mission. You go to 2, you go to 3, and maybe there's a certain number you're trying to hit. Maybe you need 6 progress, right? I don't know, I'm just making this up. So we've got our mission card, we're adding progress to it. If we travel, that's going to stay unless the card tells you otherwise. Like, it kind of works like gear in that respect. But super important, when you are adding tokens to a mission, you are not tracking that on the campaign tracker. So the campaign tracker here has all these slots here to write down all your missions and what day you earn them, and they may have progress that you track on them. Some of them will track progress with these 3 little diamonds, but some of them will not. And any tokens you're adding are not written on the campaign tracker. Now that is important because you can travel from one location to another and your tokens will generally stay unless otherwise specified by the card. But if you're trying to get 6 tokens onto a card and you get up to 5, and then you take a 3rd injury, or you decide you want to camp, or for whatever reason you end the day, this is not recorded anywhere, these tokens on your missions. It's not recorded anywhere in the campaign tracker. So you put the game away, and then the next time you set up the game, you're going to be starting from scratch on that mission. So your mission will still be active, so you'd still put the card out, but at the start of the day, there are no tokens on it. So that's really important, and I think a lot of people miss that, because I've seen the question a lot, where do you track how many tokens are on your mission card? You don't. So if you start adding tokens to a mission, your goal needs to be to reach whatever that threshold is this game day, this play session, or that progress is going to be lost. So not all missions operate that way. Not all missions are about putting tokens on your mission card. They may be about going to a particular place, finding a particular person. Some of them may, like I said, use these diamonds to track when you've done A, B, and C. When you've done certain things, then you mark off these thresholds, but others are just going to be about putting tokens on the card. And the only way you can accomplish that is to get all the tokens you need in one play session, in one game day. So that's super important, and I just wanted to make sure that I talked about it here. So I think that covers the important stuff for tokens. So again, there are 3 token types: harm and progress in general, at least in this first campaign. Once you get to Legacy of the Ancestors, you might start tracking other types of things. Don't worry about that right now. If you make it to that point, then you're probably set. You don't need me. But if you found this video helpful, please consider leaving a like, sharing it with somebody else, or subscribing to the channel so you don't miss future Earthborne Rangers content. If you've got a specific rules video for Earthborne Rangers you would like me to make, let me know. And if you'd like to make a contribution to the channel, don't forget you can head over to my Ko-fi page, ko-fi, link in the description, and you can make a donation for as little as $1. You can do that one time, or you can do that monthly. It's up to you, whatever works for you, but it is very appreciated, and it helps to keep this channel going. So to all the people who have done that, and the people who have done that multiple times, thank you very much. Can't thank you enough. But that is it for this video, so thank you so much for watching Table for One. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Have an awesome week.